Let me push this button. Good. So this is official. BORINO is with you. Another session. Today we're going to talk about recession. Are we hitting a recession? Is the shit about to hit the fan? Are we in trouble? Are we hitting for a big market slowdown? Is the real estate apocalypse upon us? That's the question. I will answer it today. Yes? You guys ready? Everybody good? Audio good? Jerry, good to see you. Pat is here. Michael joining us. Good to see you, Mr. Mike Marr. Mr. Todd, Cherie, Gus, Raul, Dominic, good morning to you as well. Jean-Marie, lovely to see our friends. All right, guys. So, are we hitting a slowdown? Is it a speed bump? Is it trouble? First, a disclaimer, I'm not an economist. I'm not some big guru with crystal balls and answers. Of course, take it, everything I say with a grain of salt. And what I share with you are my opinions based on data, based on being in real estate for over 20 years. So we'll talk about that. Also, your area may be different. There are pockets that may be experiencing some anomalies, some different things. With that, let me give you some points, because what does make me qualified, let me whine and cry a little. When I became the exquisite success real estate expert that I was, picture this, 40-some% of the inventory foreclosures, bank-owned properties, REOs. Interest rates, lowest 12%. 12%. Average days on the market, minimum 90 days, minimum for a listing. This was, of course, late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. First, I thought, man, this is the worst time to be in real estate, and it kind of felt that way too. But you know, if you learn through the fire, if you learn the ropes through the most challenging times, then the good times are really good. And today I feel somewhat qualified to teach you and help you because I experienced the really bad times, the shitty times. So now with that, are we headed for a recession? Are the things really doom and gloom? Short answer, it depends. Short answer, maybe. It doesn't look that way. Let me tell you why I don't think so. Look at this, Housing Affordability Index today versus 1990. We're in pretty good shape. Index is at 150, better than last year. This is from NAR. So it doesn't look that bad. Also look at this, percent of homes sold to select types of buyers. This is from a Business Insider. As of June, first-time home buyers represented 35% of total resale purchases, the highest since 2011. So it looks pretty good. Investor deals down, foreclosures down, home resales up. That all looks good. So now, how do you address this? This is from Daniela, one of our Rockstar members here, who posted, I need your help. I got a listing sitting on the market since August 4th with no showings. List price $499. We cut the price a few days ago, but again, no showings. Seller's very motivated and wants to sell it ASAP. I did so for all counts before listed. Price should not be a problem, so I am thinking to do an open house and be clever when it comes to marketing. So if you have a listing that should be sold but isn't, we'll talk about it. Number one, remember this. No amount of aggressive, clever, creative marketing will sell an overpriced listing. No amount of marketing will sell an overpriced listing. Number one reason your listing is not selling is price. So if you have a listing that's been on the market for 2-3 weeks with 0 showings, guess what the problem is? Now I appreciate you don't feel that way. I understand that the sellers don't think that. None of that matters. The market has responded, because here is the question. Do your potential buyers for that property and agents representing buyers know about that listing? The answer is, well, yes, of course. It's in the MLS. It's probably on the internet. What is the problem? Right there. It's the price. You see, there are still sellers out there who think they set the price. There are still agents out there who think they set the price. Who determines the price? It's the buyer. And if the buyers who are on the market right now for this kind of property, now granted, if it's a $7 million property in a $200,000 neighborhood, you may have a different problem, but that doesn't seem to be the case. $499 is pretty affordable. But if the buyers know about it and if they have no desire to go see it, why do you think that is? Don't avoid the big issue. This is the big issue. This is the reason. So address the main issue first. The second one is commission. If you have seriously cut the commission, of course there will be less interest. That's just how it works. That's the reality. If me as an agent, I'm showing property and I see that I'm going to work my ass off for half or whatever of what I'm supposed to get paid, that's not going to be on top of my list. Unless it's priced really well. Then none of that matters. None of the other stuff matters. Are you with me? So address the first thing. So here's what I would recommend. If you have a listing that has not had a showing or good amount of showings, now I can give you the actual numbers that I use as my guides. No showing in 7 days, you have a problem. If within the last 7 days nobody came to see it, you have a problem. Price. If you had 10 or more showings and 0 offers, you have a problem. And address the first problem first. Now, this is also the problem most agents don't want to address. Why? Because they don't want to piss off the sellers, they don't want to look incompetent. It's scary, it's uncomfortable to admit, I screwed up. Because you did. See, here's the thing. All sellers want you to be honest with them. Every single one of them wants you, as their listing agent, to be honest with them. They just don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. The asking price is too high. Now, when you sit down with the seller, once your trust, connection, credibility, expertise has been established, you do this with empathy, of course, but you make it clear, number one, the seller doesn't set the price. It is not up to the seller. The market will determine it. And number two, you're not there to establish what the house is worth. Because to the seller, it could be $2 million, $10 million. With all the memories, all the blood, sweat, and tears, all the money they put into it. What they think it's worth, what they think it should sell for, what they would like to get for it, what Zillow said it should get for it, what their neighbors think they should get for it, what they expect to get for it, what they must get for it in order for them to move. None of those numbers matters. It is not about what the house is worth. It's not about what the property is worth. Let me cross that out. And here is a dialogue you're going to use with your sellers. Jim, Susan, we're not here to discuss what the property is worth. That's not why we're here. We're here to determine what list price will cause it to sell and what is the most a qualified buyer will be willing to pay right now. That's why we're here. So it is not about what it's worth, it's at what price will that property sell and what is the most likely sales price. Now, you will not be usually dead on, but you should be very close, especially when it comes to sales price. With that all said, how do you know if the market is shifting? Because there may be some shifts and there may be some change. Is this helpful so far? Are you with me on this? This requires you to really know the market, of course, and know the right way, the right method of communicating, which is a combination of confidence, empathy, and expertise, competence. Yes? Raul calls me the master. I appreciate it, Raul. Thank you, good sir. Is that helpful so far? So now, here's what you need to watch for. Because it is possible your market may have shifted a little. Again, I don't think it's a doom and gloom, but here is the first indicator something is up. Keep an eye on days on the market. Now that's tricky because most agents pull up the MLS, they say, oh, property, 1234 Maple Avenue, 37 days on the market, no big deal. Except that may not be the actual 37 days. So what is the actual DOM? That's not necessarily the number. Is it the first time that property has been up for sale? Or has there been a price reduction, they removed it from the MLS, at least in my MLS, very often agents would do that. Instead of doing a price reduction, they completely remove it from the system and resubmit it as a new listing. You got to watch for that. So do your homework. Study the actual days on the market. Now you want to study days on the market, all the actives, your competition, pendings, and solds. Study it. Because what you want to look for is trends. And this is where your expertise comes to play. So if I see that 6 months ago, it took this type of a listing within the same price range, same school district, about the same size and condition to sell 47 days, but today it's 80 days. That tells me something is shifting. It may take a little longer to find the perfect buyer. So look for that. What are the trends? Actives, pendings, solds. How long does it take to go pending? How long does it take to sell? Days on the market will tell you. And then compare it 30 days ago, 60 days ago, last year about the same time of the year. Compare your competition that you're up against on your actives. Condition, presentation, commission, price reductions. You got to keep an eye on it. You got to study this shit in and out. Now, second indicator. So the first one is days on the market, is AR. Are you familiar with AR? Absorption rate. Absorption rate. What it basically means is a comparison between a supply and demand. Now again, this is very general. Your neighborhood may be different, your area may be different, but let me give you just overall general values. Absorption rate. If you have, let me get a different color, 6 to 7 months of inventory. That means if no new property goes on the market, which never really happens, but it's an indicator. If the absorption rate, it takes 6 to 7 months to sell everything that you have in the market, that's a balanced market. That's about the balanced market. That means it would take 6 to 7 months to sell the inventory. If it's 5 or less, that means if it takes 5 or less, that's a low inventory, home selling quickly, multiple offers, that's a strong seller's market. If this is 8 or more, that's a strong buyer's market. So keep an eye on it. And has it changed? Is there a shift in the absorption rate? I'm just reading my notes, don't want to miss anything for you guys. Okay? So compare. What is the absorption rate? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it a spike? Is it a dip? Or is it a trend that's been consistent for the last few weeks or months? Check your absorption rates. This will clearly tell you market is about to level off. Now, what it seems like, at least in our area here in Virginia, Washington, D.C. area, the market is just correcting, just leveling off. It's just balancing off. I don't think we're going to see any huge slowdown or recession or any of that anytime soon. Now, again, I can be completely wrong. I've been known to be wrong once or twice before. But based on this, it just doesn't seem that way. Maybe your area is different, but I doubt it. Next, well-priced listing will sell in any market. No matter how bad things are. Remember my market, 13, 14% interest rates, 40% REOs, bank-owned properties, foreclosures. I mean, I had sellers in tears when I would present the market evaluation to them, when we discuss what they're actually going to get for it. But it's not my fault, and it's not the seller's fault. That's the reality. What it's going to come down to is not how much they want to sell for, but how bad do they want to move, because the price is what the price is. It's going to be determined by the market, by the buyers. Are you with me on that? So good listings will sell in any market. Good listings will always sell. You must determine what price will cause your listing to sell. Even if it's uncomfortable, you owe it to the sellers. That's why they hired you, for you to be honest with them, to tell them the truth. If you don't know the truth, study this stuff, research it. In my area, there's another important element, and this is probably in your area as well. We live in an area called Lake Barcroft. It's part of Falls Church, Arlington area, just outside of DC. Homes here sell on average for $800,000 to about $2.5 million, depending. But I can not only compare homes within the neighborhood. Are they lakefront? Do they have a view? Condition, the usual stuff. There's another area, just a few miles out, maybe 4 or 5 miles out, called Vietnamic Lane. Same type of neighborhood, maybe a little more opulent, a little more spacious. Some buyers will not only compare what they can get here, but what they can get for their money in a similar neighborhood like that. Keep that in mind. That some buyers who shop don't necessarily shop in that little, usually defined by school district area, but maybe compare 2, 3, sometimes 4 neighborhoods. Take that into consideration, because now certain homes out there may become my competition. And if I have a listing that's just sitting there, now I need to look outside of the boundaries of my neighborhood. Does that make sense? So keep that in mind. Start thinking like a buyer would. If you really wanted to establish good price and good strategy to get the property sold for the right price. Put yourself in buyer's shoes. How would they perceive that listing? How do they perceive the neighborhood and other listings in that neighborhood? And if yours is not selling, what is the real problem? Is it really they don't know about it? Not likely. What is the real issue? Are you with me? Is that making sense? One more flag that you want to watch for. We don't have that much of that here in the area, but if you have builders that you're competing against within the general area, not necessarily in the neighborhood, but within the general, if you start seeing builders who start to suddenly offer special incentives, huge discounts, financing options, buy downs, that kind of stuff, that may be an indicator something's up in that area. That suddenly they're having a hard time moving properties. So watch for that as well. Okay? All right. The thing is this. Homes are still selling. There are about 602 of them that sold every hour. Why is that? Affordability. It's still affordable. What do we have interest rates right now? 3.6, 3.7% at the moment. Fixed rate, 30 years. That's really low. A lot of people can afford to buy homes. So homes are still being sold. Don't buy into this. Nobody's buying. Things are slowing down. They're not. 602 homes will sell in the next 60 minutes. Plenty of listings getting sold. Plenty of agents making money. So the last thing I'm going to give you, get the listings you have sold. Evaluate what is the real problem. Don't try to come up with clever marketing. It's the price. It's the price. If the buyers know about that property, price it right. If they don't know, let them know. Work with other agents. That's always your best source. Other agents with buyers will be your number one source of getting your listing sold. And do the basic stuff. Nice pictures, stage the property, make sure the appeal is nice, good commission, good price, good appeal. That's the best you can do. You don't need to spend a whole lot of money and a whole lot of creative marketing in most cases. Price the sucker right. That's the last thing the seller wants to hear, but it's the first thing you need to tell them because it is the real reason why your listings are not selling. It is not the recession, it is not the market, it is the price. That's the truth. Now, with that said, go over the seller's goals. What is it that they really want? How bad do they want to move? How much does that matter to them? How important is it to them? And be okay, and this is a tough one, for them to say, well, you know what, we'll just stay, I guess. Because whether they're going to list with another agent, they're going to go with another company or stay with you, the price will remain the problem no matter who they list with. There's no such thing as one agent getting them more than the other. Agents don't set the price. Only the good agents set the right price. Make sense? So go get more. Get more listings. Always look for more listings. Because you will encounter sellers whose motivation, core drive, and emotion is kind of like, yeah, you know, if we sell, yeah, if we don't sell, it's okay too. That's how I feel about a house where we are now. Would I move? Maybe. But, you know. I don't have a strong core drive and emotion. I don't have a strong motivation. Be careful. You cannot motivate sellers. If they don't have a need, a problem, a desire, or a solid reason to move, you can't install that. It's either there or not. You can help them, you can inspire them, you can excite them, that's all great. But at the end, it's going to be their decision. We're going to move, we're going to stay. And just like sellers don't want to hear the truth, sometimes agents don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to see the factors, they don't want to see the indicators that the seller's just not motivated. You're working with somebody who can wait a year, a two, a three. That's not a good seller to work with. Because they're going to tie down your resources, your mental focus. They're going to tie down your time where you could be out there getting really good listings with motivated sellers. And there are plenty of them out there. You just have to work high probability leads. Those are the easiest ones to convert. For sale by owners, expired listings, referrals, open house leads. Those are always good. Easy, cheap, quick, compared to many other methods. Yeah? So do that. All right. Now, let's see if we have any good questions I can answer for you. All right, look at that. Australia in the house. Nice to have you. Where we had the longest ever decline in market, nearly 5 years of falls. On average, vendor discount around 6% of the first list price. Tough, only. That may be. That may be the case, and maybe we're headed for the same thing. Nobody knows. Nobody, even the smartest people cannot predict long term because there are so many factors that influence it. But I can tell you right now, at the right price, if the seller wants to move, you can get the property sold. And here's a good part. If the market shifts and it's going to be tougher to get it sold, they can pick up a good deal on the other end. So at the end, it's going to balance it out in many cases. If the market is good, they can get a good price. Then they're going to compete. Then it's going to be tougher to find the right listing for the right price for them. So they win as a seller and lose as a buyer. I know those are not the right words, but you get my point. And if it shifts, they're going to lose as a seller, they're going to win as a buyer. In many cases, that seems to be the case in many instances. And one more advice I can give you guys, don't get emotionally tangled in other people's drama. They may have a drama, they may have big emotions and opinions, and they can go through all that shit. Not your fault, not your responsibility. Your job is to be competent, confident, empathetic, expert advisor. That's your job. And you work with some people and some you don't. You can help some clients and some you will not. That's the reality. But if you're consistent and persistent in your marketing, in your lead generation, in your follow-up, you're going to stuff that pipeline with plenty of motivated leads. Some will convert, some will not. Some will be great sellers, some will not. Some will stall and balk when you tell them the truth. You got to do the best you can with what you have. That's the reality. There's always a need for good agents. There's always somebody who needs to buy and sell homes. That's it. The end. All right. Karen says, great stuff. There are so many factors about what might influence a recession. People have to buy and sell in any market, though. Price does rule. Always has. Yeah. Now, of course, keep track what's going on. Educate yourself. But don't let that bum you out. Don't let that be the obstacle in your success or in your income. If this doofus from Czechoslovakia survived the market of 88, 89, 90, and so on, this is a good time to be in real estate. It's a good time. You have tools and resources and information. There are plenty of clients out there. It's a good balance right now. And the only reason why you are not where you want to be is because of only one of three things, or combination of those three. Mindset, systems, and taking consistent action. That's it. That's the whole answer. It is no more complicated than that. Your mindset is in a shitter. You don't have the right systems to get leads, follow up with them, and get listings. Or you do have the right mindset, you do have the right systems, you're just not taking consistent action. That's it. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is we can fix that. All of that can be fixed. Totally doable. All right? Raul says, I have 2 listings here, sitting here for 60 days with after 3 price reductions. No showings. Raul, it's still overpriced. Even if you did price reduction means nothing if you're not getting showings and offers. You're still high. You're still high. No, I'm kidding. But you get me? It's still too much. The buyers still think, not a good deal. There is something about that listing or those 2 listings where the buyers go, not that one. It could be the curb appeal, it could be the location, it could be factors, but you can balance those out. You can compensate with price, because at the right price, every listing sells, every property sells, every single house can be sold. Every single listing can be sold at the right price. Your job, Raul, and you guys, my rock stars, is to figure out what is that price. At what price will the property sell? Now, you need to sit down with the seller, tell them the truth. And the seller needs to understand it is not up to me. What I wish, want, must have, need, what Zillow said, what the other agents say, none of that matters. There's only one number. You need to know what that number is. What price will cause this listing to sell? What price will cause this listing to sell? You need to know that. Now, you can arrive at that number. You study the market, you study your competition, study what's pending, study what's sold, and adjust. How does my listing compare to these? Why these sold and this one didn't or hasn't? All right? Helpful, Raul? Okay. Monica says, thank you, Borino. I needed this today. Talking to a friend this afternoon, wants to list. Keeps telling me her home is the best in the neighborhood. now know how to talk to her regarding the price. It could be the best in the neighborhood, and that's great. Nice appeal helps. A lot of features help. Property being remodeled helps. Great landscaping, fantastic. All that helps, but there is still a price that will cause the property to sell. There is still a number that will cause it to sell. You, Monica, will walk in. You will chat with the seller. You will let the seller do most of the talking. You're going to ask questions. And then through the process of decoupling, emotional decoupling, you're going to walk them through the process to understand that the buyer will see it as walls, windows, a property, just like a car. It has a price tag. You need to tell them, this is the price tag. And if you do it empathetically with connection, status, confidence, competence, you're going to get a great listing and help the seller. Now, whether they like that price, whether they want something else, how they feel about it, doesn't matter. You know, the only thing that matters, do they want to move? Do they want to move? How important is it to them to sell this one so they can live in that one? What's more important to them? Stay here or move? Those are the only two choices that every seller needs to make. So it's not about the price, it's how much does that matter? Because the price is what the price is. That one will be set by the buyer and approved by the bank. The end. Yeah? It does require skill. It does require some tools. That's why we're prepping for you the Presentation Plus 2.0. New version will be coming out in just a couple of weeks. I'm really excited about it. I'll tell you more about it as we get closer releasing it. You're going to get a book. You're going to get videos. I will teach you how to do all this. Because I'm the first one to admit this is not the most comfortable conversations with the seller. Because on one hand, you want to help them. You want to get paid. You want to get a good listing, obviously. And you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings and be an asshole. On the other hand, you got to be honest. And I'm here to tell you, speaking from experience, the only thing worse than not having listings is having overpriced listings. Because even if the seller was the most stubborn one picking the price, at the end, guess who they're going to blame? The agent. You're the bad guy every single time. And every single time a property doesn't sell, they blame you. They tell you you're not doing enough marketing and advertising. You're lazy. You need to do drones. You need to be flying up there in a helicopter doing video and shit. You know what I mean? That's how it works, my friends. Oh, this is sweet of you. Borino, keep coming back to you for your motivational style and systems. Just have to get my own motivation and turbocharged, but managed to enlist my wonderful wife to share the phone call. Excellent. And I'm here because it is a combination. You need to be motivated and passionate. There are days that are more motivated and more passionate than others. But you got to get shit done. And that includes getting good sellers. That includes studying the market. That includes being honest with the sellers you have. You have an obligation to them. And be willing to walk away. Be willing to walk away. Be willing to say, at this price, I just can't help you. Nobody can. You can hire 10 other agents. It's not going to change the fact that the buyers perceive this to be too much. That's what it is. I'm here to help. I'm the first one here. Number one fan to get you to where you want to be in Florida. But in order for us to make that a reality, we need to price it right. It is what it is. Okay, guys? You know what to do? All right. I want to make sure I covered everything. Good. Looks like we covered everything. Was this helpful? So, takeaway points. Study the market. Study days on the market. Study your competition. Study what's going on. Practice your listing presentation. Subscribe to services like Keeping Current Matters, Inman, Realtor.com, Yahoo Finance. There's a whole bunch of good websites that will feed you good information so you stay on top of it, you understand what's going on. But beyond that, understand there will be always people who need your help, buyers and sellers who need to move regardless of the economy, the market, the situation. That can be all kinds of stuff going on out there. There will always be people who need your help. You price your listings right, they will sell. You need to do simple things, good presentation, good price, good commission, do the best you can with the appeal of the house. You can't change the location, price the sucker right, get them sold while you get more. Don't get stuck on just one. Never get stuck on 1 or 2 listings. Always look for more. 50% of your day needs to be spent on getting leads, getting business. So this way you don't have the ups and downs of the business. Because some sellers will say, well, you know, fuck it. If we can't get 500,000 for it, we're staying. And you say, good, best of luck to you. If the market does shift and things go up, and one day maybe you will be able to get it, I'll be back. Until then, we'll be in touch. Thanks very much. And you go off to the next one. Rather than sitting there for 3 months, wrecking your brain, wrecking your energy, putting money into it, trying to market it, nobody wins. The seller will be pissed because it's not happening. People are not going to come in. Buyer cannot buy it. Nobody's going to buy an overpriced shit. So that's the truth. And I'm here to tell you the truth. All right? Gus says, thank you, Borino. My pleasure, Gus. Glad you enjoyed it. All right, my friends, that's my message today. That's a lesson today. Nice, short, and simple. Not easy, but doable. Can you do it? The answer is yes, absolutely you can. With the right mindset, right systems, and right action, you can totally do it. All right, friends, have a fantastic week. Rock it this week. Evaluate every listing you have. Do I need to do something about it? Simple. Remember what I told you. If you're getting showings, no offers, you have a problem. If you're not getting showings at all, you have a problem. Fix it. You owe it to your sellers. That is your obligation to them, your duty. With that, your duty is to find more sellers because there are plenty of them out there who need a competent agent, who need a hardworking rockstar like you. All right? Karen says, I needed to hear this today. Good. As they say, there are no coincidences, right? When the student is ready to teach your peers. Thanks for allowing me to be your teacher today. I appreciated you guys. Have a great week. I'll talk to you all real soon. Let's go get them. Ciao. Bye, everybody.